Hello everyone, Namaskar. Now we are entering in the second week of the course. This whole second week, 5 lectures will be devoted on various aspects of post harvest handling and storage of the fresh produce. So, in today's lecture, we will discuss about post harvest losses, their causes and preventive measures. The concepts that will be covered in today's lecture include current status and causes of post harvest losses, factors affecting deterioration of fruits and vegetables, post harvest physiology of fruits and vegetables, sprouting and methods of sprout suppression, and finally, we will also discuss with the preventive measures for minimizing the post harvest losses. Let us see, let us try to understand what does a post harvest loss means. That is, losses that occur from the time of harvesting of fresh produce till they reach the consumer are referred to as post harvest losses. Post harvest losses may be quantitative loss like reduction in the weight due to moisture loss or loss of the dry matter during the value chain, or it may refer to the qualitative loss, that is the freshness deterioration leading to loss of consumer appeal and nutritional losses. In the earlier class, we had discussed in detail that the estimated loss in the fruits and vegetables are very high in India, maybe 15 to 20%, and in some cases as high as 30 to 40% of the total produce. So, in this slide I have tried to show you the different stages of post harvest losses in the value chain. Like it starts from the production point itself. In the production point, there are various field and preparatory losses. Then from the field, when it comes to the pre-processing, then in the pre-processing rejects, culls, then selection, grading, sorting, etc. also result to some losses, after which it comes to transportation. During transportation, there may be spoilage, bruising, breakage, leakage, etc. that also results to significant amount of loss of the produce. Then during storage, the loss may be due to various reasons like insect attack, molds, bacteria, rodents, birds, or there may be sprouting of the material, rancidity, over ripening, etc. All these factors may lead to the losses during storage of the produce, particularly if the storage conditions are not properly met. Then during processing and packaging, there may be inefficiency or excessive peeling, trimming, polishing, or other operations. They also may result in the loss depending upon how the various operations, etc. are managed during processing and packaging. Then also there is significant amount of loss during marketing, that is unsafe food, quality losses, etc. and at the consumer end as well. So, causes of the post harvest losses, maybe there are certain primary factors and certain secondary factors. Primary factors include biological and microbiological factors, that is consumption of produce or damage of the produce by insect, pests, animals and microorganisms like fungi and bacteria, etc. There may be chemical and biochemical factors or chemical and biochemical reactions taking during the various stages in the value chain and which result into the loss of the compound, maybe the chemical reaction, undesirable chemical reactions like browning, rancidity, etc. As far as the mechanical factor is concerned, there may be spillages, damages caused by abrasion, bruising, crushing, puncturing, etc. In the physical factors, there may be improper environmental and storage conditions like temperature, relative humidity, air speed, etc. Physiological factors like sprouting, senescence or other respiratory and transpiratory changes may be there which are considered under physiological factors, and ultimately the Psychological factors also are there which lead to the spoilage or post harvest losses, like human aversion or refusal due to personal or religious reasons, etc. They may not consume a particular product, or they may not take the product on a particular day or at a specific time or proper time. So, that may also result to some losses. The secondary factors affecting the post harvest losses include biological factors like respiration rate, ethylene production, compositional changes during growth and development, transpiration, physiological breakdown, physical damage to the produce, then pathological breakdown, surface area to volume. That is, if in a product there is a surface area is more in comparison to volume, this may also mirror like what happens in the leafy vegetables mostly. Then membrane permeability, etc. of the material. Environmental factors like temperature, relative humidity, composition of the atmospheric gases, ethylene, light, and other factors. So, all these factors you can see how these fruits and vegetables they are vulnerable because they are highly perishable commodity. So, you can say that improper harvesting and handling, inadequate storage facilities, inadequate transportation, inadequate refrigeration, and inadequate supply chain or marketing system. They are the major factors, major causes of the post harvest losses. So, now let us take up a little details of all these factors, like respiration rate. In the earlier class we discuss in detail respiration, transpiration, condensation, etc. So, here and we emphasize that higher the respiration rate, shorter is the shelf life of the commodity. So, if the respiration rate is high, the commodity will have a short shelf life, okay, and spoilage will be there in early time, there will be senescence early. So, we have to obviously we have to make all possible efforts to make the respiration rate, particularly aerobic respiration, as slower rate as possible. In fact, towards the end of the lecture, we will also discuss what are the preventive measures for these post harvest losses. Ethylene production, it triggers the textural changes, color changes, and tissue degradation of fruits and vegetables. Some of the important changes or symptoms of ethylene injury in fruits include like russet sprouting of lettuce, yellowing or loss of green color, for example, in cucumber, broccoli, kale, spinach, etc. There may be increased toughness in turnips and asparagus. There may be bitterness in carrots and parsnips, yellowness and abrasion in leaf of brassica, and there may be many other associated, that is the complete list is given here in the slide, like yellow softening, pitting and development of off flavors in peppers, summer squash and watermelons, browning and discoloration of eggplant pulp and seed, discoloration and off flavor in sweet potatoes, increased ripening and softening of the mature green vegetable. So, there is this list is very long. So, there is a wide range of these are some of the important major symptoms of ethylene related injuries in the fruits and vegetables. Okay. Similarly, that is the during growth and the development of the produce also there may be some changes, and which may lead to the some quality or quantity loss, like there may be loss of green color, loss of chlorophyll in the vegetables, there may be loss of carotenoids like yellow and orange color. For example, in what happens in the case of apricot, peaches, citrus fruit and tomato, even there may be loss of anthocyanins, that is there is loss of red color or blue color of the fruits, etc., or other commodities like apple, cherries and strawberries. Changes in the carbohydrate may take place during growth and development stage, like starch is converted into sugar in the case of potato, particularly during post harvest if storage condition or handling conditions are not proper, which causes sweetening of the potato. Then in the like case of the peas, sweet corn, etc., that is the sugar is converted into starch when the pea is tender, then it contains more amount of monosaccharides, and which that is sweetness, which is responsible for the sweetness of the pea, etc. But when these pea or sweet corn, when they dry, these monosaccharides are converted into starch, which reduces its sweetness. Then breakdown of pectin and other polysaccharide, which may cause the softening of the fruit. Changes in the organic acid, protein, amino acid and lipid may lead to the undesirable changes in the flavor of the commodities. Also there may be loss of vitamin, and which will degrade the nutritional quality of the food. So during growth and development stage also there are a lot of changes. Compositional changes, that is, in some commodity growth and development continues even after harvest, and which accelerate deterioration. For example, sprouting of potato, onion and garlic during storage, fresh rooting of onions or harvested crop continues to grow even after harvest, which is very much evident in asparagus. There is increase in the volume in lettuce. So these changes result into the significant quality and other change of the produce. Transpiration, in earlier class we discussed in detail the transpiration and its effect. There may be, if heavy transpiration, there may be loss in weight, loss in appearance like wilting, shriveling of the produce. There may be loss in the textural quality, there may be softening or loss of crispiness and juiciness of the product. Physical damage like mechanical injury or cut during harvesting, handling, storage, transportation, etc. may result into the loss of the produce. Bruising due to vibration like during transportation, or impact if the uncontrolled or improper dropping, or there may be compression like if there is overfilling of the material. So all these factors may result into the damage of the produce. Physiological breakdown, particularly when the produce is exposed to an undesirable temperature, maybe post harvest, the physiological breakdown of the produce may take place. For example, freezing injury, when the commodity is stored at a abnormally lower temperature, that is particularly lower, the temperature lower than its freezing point temperature, then it may result into the freezing injury. Chilling injury, when the commodity is stored at below their desired storage, cool storage temperature, then it may result into the different spots, which is a common problem in the commodities like banana, etc. Then heat injuries, when commodity is exposed to direct sunlight or at excessively high temperature, it causes defects like sunburn, bleaching, scalding, uneven ripening, excessive softening, etc., which you can see even in this some paper. Okay. Then pathological breakdown may also be there, which may be caused by activities of bacteria and fungi, that is yeast and molds, and particularly the vegetables, because of their nature they are more prone to attack by bacteria. The fruits, etc., because of the acid or sugar present in them, they may be attacked by mold or fungi. So they may also result into the breakdown or spoilage. The common pathogens causing rot in fruits and vegetables are fungi such as Alternaria, Bruticus, Diplodia, and Rhizopus, Penicillium, Fusarium, etc. The bacteria like Erwinia, Pseudomonas and such other related bacteria, they cause spoilage or excessive damage to the commodity. Okay. Now let us after having discussed these various factors which cause post harvest losses, let us see one other major very important factors, that is which contributes to the loss during storage of commodities like potato, onions, etc., that is sprouting. So let us understand what is the physiological basis for sprouting. Okay. That is, when this commodity is harvested, that is after the development of the bulb, tubers or root, this etc., these root crops enter into a rest period, that is after they are harvested. So this rest period actually after their proper development and maturity, this is characterized by reduced physiological activity with non-response to environmental conditions. So, the commodity is and that is we say that it is a rest under rest period physiologically, this after the full proper development of the bulb tubers, etc. So, during this rest period what happens? Endogenous sprout inhibitor, these commodities they have both like sprout inhibitors as well as sprout promoters. So, during the rest period sprout inhibitors like abscisic acid, etc., they predominate over the promoters like gibberellins, axins and others which are already inherently present in these materials. So, this balance is continued for some time, but it changes this balance of between the promoters and inhibitors changes with the length of the storage and get into a finally endowment period. They will then sprout or form when this after a storage environmental conditions are long and they are unfavorable environmental conditions, etc. for the sprout inhibitors, then the promoters will dominate and they will form sprout or form roots if placed under favorable environmental conditions. So, although there are no clear cut boundaries between these stages, with the longer storage times, that is the promoters can say that dominate, they predominate and sprouting takes place, which leads to the spoilage of the important producers like ginger, onions, etc. Okay. Chilling injury is another major problem. I told you in the important fruit like banana, etc. That is this is exposure of the climatic fruit, especially banana, etc., to a low temperature storage, that is below 13 degree. Normally banana, so it is recommended temperature for the storage of the banana is around 12 to 13 degrees Celsius. So, if it is stored below that, you see here it is a blackening of the peel of the banana has taken place, that is called chilling injury. So, this injury is majorly caused by two mechanisms, that is when the temperature is low, then the storage temperature, then their normal recommended temperature, then there is a excess production of ROS, that is radical scavengers, including superoxide anion, hydroxyl radical and hydrogen peroxide, which further increases the production of superoxide anion. And the accumulated ROS or radical scavengers changes the membrane organization, such as there is a decrease in the unsaturated fatty acids of the membrane lipids and there is a accumulation of membrane lipid oxidation related malonaldehyde byproducts, etc., and enzymatic oxidation of phenolic substrates by enzymes like polyphenol oxidases, etc., form the black or brown products. So, which is apparently visible on the peels of the material. So, that is the major cause of the chilling injury. So, here that is some of the commodities, that is the soft scaled, low O2 injury, internal CO2 injury, or that is superficial scaled, low temperature breakdown or external CO2 injury. So, different types of injuries or damages due to disorders, particularly improper environmental condition, temperature, O2, CO2, etc. When they are not managed in properly, then these may result. So, these are the pictures showing the important major storage disorders of major fruits and vegetables. Okay. So, these were apart from this, in earlier class also when we were discussing respiration, transpiration, we discussed these effects, but here also the environmental factors they affect, and this is you can say one of the major factor responsible for the losses during the post harvest, like temperature is one such factor. Environmental temperature plays very major role in the deterioration of the produce, and we discussed earlier that for every 10 degrees Celsius increase in the temperature, the rate of the reaction, particularly here we are referring to the deteriorative reactions, they are increased in 2 times. So, exposure to undesirable temperature results in many physiological disorders like freezing injury, chilling injury, heat injury, etc. Temperature influences growth rate of the fungal spores, other pathogens. It affects the respiration, transpiration rate of the produce, and here the temperature dependence of the various reaction, that the rate constant can be expressed by the Arrhenius equation, K is equal to AE to the power minus EA by RT, where EA is the activation energy, R is the gas constant, T is the absolute temperature, and A is the frequency factor. So, you can see that if the rate of reaction will increase with the increase in the temperature. Okay. Relative humidity, another culprit, major culprit. The relative humidity has the direct effect on the growth of the microorganism in association with the temperature. So, the combination of that is not the relative humidity and temperature both have a very significant effect on the shelf life and quality of the material post harvest. Like if the temperature and relative temperature is maintained at a higher level and relative humidity low, then deterioration will be very high. If the temperature and relative humidity both are high, then the deterioration or spoilage will be high. If the temperature and relative humidity post harvest are in the storage environment during handling, etc., they are both kept low, there will be very less or moderate deterioration and spoilage. If the temperature is low but relative humidity is high, then this will result into a less deterioration. And here in the commodity, you can see that in the figure, that is how that what are the temperature and moisture content, and that is the field of fresh water, etc., how they influence the growth of microorganism, insect, etc., or that water activity, rate of the presence of the water activity in the material and equilibrium relative humidity, how it influences, that is the growth, that is the oxidation reaction, browning reaction, hydrolytic reactions, enzymatic activity, all these things are shown in this figure, and which, so it shows that yes, that is the relative humidity is very important factor, and together with temperature it influences the post harvest diseases are most severe when the relative humidity is 90% or higher. Okay. Particularly because at 90% or higher the relative humidity, the microbiological fungi, etc., they find the suitable environment for their growth. Then atmospheric gas composition. The gaseous composition mainly refers to the concentration of oxygen, CO2 and ethylene. Okay. So, this is the basis of CMA storage, modified atmosphere packaging. Normally the concentration of CO2 is kept high and concentration of O2 is kept low, but mind it, it has to be optimum depending upon the produce, depending upon the commodity, their respiratory behavior, as I emphasized earlier also, that is every commodity has a specific requirement of O2 and CO2. So, there should be proper balance, optimum O2 and CO2 should be maintained. If there is a very high CO2 or very low O2, then there will be texture loss, there will be irregular ripening, like poor skin color development may be there. If the oxygen is excessively low, there may be anaerobic respiration which may cause off flavor development, spoilage may be there, that is hollow heart disease in potato, etc., as you can see here in the figure. So, it is very, very important that the proper combination of O2 CO2 in the storage environment or inside the package during handling, transportation, storage, etc., should be maintained for better shelf life as well as for a better quality. Of course, these we will discuss later on also. Then light, exposure of potato to light results in greening of the tuber due to the formation of chlorophyll and solanine, which is the toxic to human and consumption. You can see many times even in the field there is greening of the potato. You can see here in the picture green color. It is mainly due to presence of solanine, and this is not desirable. Other factors like various chemicals which are pesticide, growth regulators, etc., which are applied in the field pre-harvest or even post harvest as a ripening agent and all those things, they also contribute to the deterioration, causing loss of color, flavor, texture, nutritional value, etc. Okay. So, these were the things. Now, let us see what are the various preventive measures for minimizing these post harvest losses, and these are very important. In fact, in 1 week we will devote mostly on these various preventive measures, etc. Different classes will be taken, so that is in detail, their principles, how they are operated, how they influence. So, but here I will tell you that like cold storage, waxing, irradiation, edible coating, controlled atmosphere storage, modified atmosphere packaging, pre-packing or evaporative cool storage, etc. Some of the important factors or methods by which we can. So, just their concept briefly I will elaborate here, like waxing. Waxing, that is in the apples, etc. They are a coating of the wax is applied over the material, that is a protective coating for many of the fruits and vegetables, and it helps in the reduction in loss of moisture and also reduces the rate of respiration. So, it results in prolonged storage life. Then evaporative cool storage, as you can see, it is one of the method which is followed traditionally even in the field. It is the best short term storage of fruits and vegetables at farm level. It helps the farmer to get better returns of their produce and helps in reducing shriveling of horticultural crops and extend their storage life. So, this evaporative cool storage is another factor. Pre-packaging is another method, that is which controls the rate of respiration and rate of transpiration and extends the shelf life. It keeps the commodity in fresh condition both at the ambient as well as at the low temperature. The benefits, the pre-packaging benefits the consumer and the producer because of its low cost and ready availability. Okay. Then we have seen, I think we have emphasized more that the cold storage, that is it is a traditionally used practice for the prevention of post harvest losses, etc. That is storage of fruits and vegetables at low temperature because it lowers down the rate of respiration, transpiration, etc. The principle of maintaining the cold storage is principle of maintaining the lower temperature in the storage environment. It reduces the rate of respiration and delays the ripening, and detail it we discussed during respiration class. Okay, then modified atmosphere packaging or controlled atmosphere storage, that is here now the modern concept is, novel concept is, instead of earlier only the temperature was maintained in the lower temperature was maintained in the storage environment, but now it is emphasized that along with the temperature even composition of the gaseous composition, that is the either packaging material should we will devote in 1 week and special lectures on CA storage or modified atmosphere packaging, etc. But here the principle is, concept is that the atmosphere composition around the product or within the packet, all right, modify in respect of O2 and CO2 concentration, and then it modifies the rate of respiration, generally lowers the rate of respiration, and with this it extends the shelf life of the commodity like banana, carrots, capsicum, green chili, tomatoes, etc., which are highly respiring. They can be good. In fact, in our laboratory we have done experiment here, that is the tomatoes, fully ripe tomatoes, by having proper modified atmosphere storage as well as a combination of modified atmosphere packaging and controlled atmosphere storage, we have extended the shelf life of tomato up to 60 days, 2 months. And this banana, we have extended the shelf life up to 1 month. This mushrooms 10 days and so on. So, other example like papaya can be stored up to 4 weeks when stored at 10 to 12 degrees Celsius under modified atmosphere conditions, while using optimum low temperature storage environment of Cavendish banana, capsicum, green chilies, and tomato can be extended to 42 days, 21 days, 28 days and 30 days respectively. These are the results taken from the literature. Similarly, control atmosphere storage, principles of maintaining it works on principle of maintaining an artificial atmosphere having higher concentration of CO2 and lower concentration of O2 than the normal atmosphere. And I earlier told also it reduces the rate of respiration, thus delays the aging, and it is very effective when combined, as I told you, when it is combined with the low temperature storage, like here 1 plus 1 makes 11. That is both cumulative effect, that they are the synergistic effect, and you get a better shelf life. See it along with the. Then irradiation is another novel technology to reduce post harvest losses and extend the storage life. Again we will take up irradiation separately. Gamma rays at optimum dosage delays ripening, it minimizes insect infestation and retards microbial spoilage. It controls the sprouting, even it has been proven a very effective method for controlling the sprouting in onions, garlic, potato, etc. during their storage. Although insect infestation of the spices, etc., that can be controlled by irradiation. It is used as a disinfestation treatment and controls fruit fly and citrus fruit, mango, sweet weevil and papaya fruit fly, etc. Edible coating, like in the earlier we saw the wax coating, but wax coating has certain problem because it may be non-edible and problems are there. So, that wax coating is now being totally replaced with the edible coating material, that is it is some sort of that continuous matrix prepared from edible material such as protein, polysaccharide and lipids, etc., and it is applied on the surface of, it is a completely transparent coating on the surface of the commodity. It controls migration of gases, moisture, oil, fat and other solutes as well, and as it retains flavoring compounds, and it improves structural integrity and mechanical handling in order to maintain quality and inhibit microbial growth. Methods for the sprout inhibition like refrigeration, control atmosphere, or there are certain chemicals available like application of growth regulators, okay, or sprout suppressant they can be applied, or then ionization method like this sprout suppression can also be achieved, as I told you, by ionizing radiation or radiating the onion bulb, potato and yam tubers, etc. And even that is there to some extent, that is the control atmosphere also has been proved to be beneficial in suppressing the sprout formation. Okay. Here in this table I have given you, there are some chemicals which are used to control spoilage and improve quality in fruits and vegetables, like in the case of apple, sodium phenyl, that is either a dip in a particular solution of this, they can be dipped, and so that the surface cleaning and sanitization of the surface that take place. That papaya in hot water, onion, venom oil, sweet potato and tomato in 2,6-dichloro, 4-nitroaniline, etc. But let me tell you that as far as possible, that is the use of chemicals should be avoided, but if at all it is necessary to be used, it should be a food grade chemical, and it must be ensured that the chemicals are not toxic and they do not have any adverse effect, they do not have any reaction with the food constituent, etc. Also there are the chemicals which are used to extend the shelf life and quality of the produce, like in the case of mango, calcium nitrate, apples, that calcium, okay, there is a mango calcium chloride is also used in the mango, banana, GA3, guava, calcium nitrate, etc., and their concentration at that is the percentile ppm level is recommended. So again these chemicals, however, should be used with caution. Okay. So now I will summarize the lecture that the post harvest losses of fruits and vegetables occur due to lack of proper techniques of harvesting, transportation, storage and distribution. The losses can be reduced by implementing the important cultural methods, careful handling and packaging, the use of appropriate chemical, whereas that is when necessary at pre or post harvest stage, may prolong the availability of the fresh produce for a long period of time by protecting them from pathogens and other environmental factors. Also, the controlled atmosphere storage, redurization, modified atmosphere packaging or storage at low temperature have been found to be effective for fruits and vegetables for minimizing their post harvest losses as well as extending their shelf life and quality. The causes of losses occur at different times during the production and post harvest cycle of the crop, and this obviously that is the important thing is that these causes should be properly understood. Okay? And because if you have properly understood the main cause, it becomes easier to take the preventive measure or control measure. So, these are the references which have been used in this lecture, and with this thank you very much for your patience hearing. Thank you.